In this video, I'm going to briefly explain how you can use your existing ClickerPad voting presentations when you're running virtual meetings or hybrid meetings. So, what I mean by that is perhaps you've got some of the people in the room with a voting keypad, but you've got other people joining perhaps via Teams or Zoom or something like that. Equally, you might have 65 people in the room, but you only have 50 keypads. Well, you could get the other 15 to join on their smartphones or laptops or tablets so that they can also vote. So, this video is not for people that are brand new to using the system. Once you've got the hang of how to make your voting slides and how to set up your keypads, that would be a good time to come and have a look at this. So, what you can see here is that we've got some ClickerPad keypads on the image on the left, and on the right you've got an example of how it would look if you joined via a phone. So essentially the functionality is the same. When you want to cast a vote, you just press a button on your keypad, or if you've got a phone, you just tap on the relevant number on your phone. And at the top right, whether you're using the keypad or the phone, you will get confirmation of what you've voted. So that's what this is all about, and I'm going to have a quick tour now through how you get this set up and working. But essentially the end result is that whether people are in the room or out of the room, no matter which device they're voting on, the votes will be treated in exactly the same way. So key thing to note is this is not an app, so there's nothing to install. What you're seeing there is a browser window, so all that people have to do is log on to the URL that you give them and enter their meeting code, and they'll get a keypad on their screen like this without any installation. So where we go to set that up is we're going to go onto a browser page. So let me just jump to that. So open up whichever browser you normally use, so whether that's Edge or Chrome, it doesn't matter what you're using, and we type in keypad.world. Okay, that will take you to a voter login page. So if you were joining as an attendee of the meeting and you just want to be able to vote during the meeting, you just need to enter the meeting code that the organizer has provided. So I'm going to show you that end first. So I've got a meeting set up, which is number 123645, and we say sign in, and we're straight in. So immediately we're able to cast votes. You can see when I clicked 1, it says we voted 1 here. If I change that to 3, it updates and so forth. So the voter login is very, very simple, and they are told which keypad number they've been allocated. So I'm just going to log out of being an attendee. So we're back to the home page. The one that you would be using as an organizer is this one here, admin login. We've quite deliberately not made that look like a button because we would rather that the attendees don't even notice it, but it has to be visible for you to be able to connect to it. So click on admin login, and you just type in your email address and your password. My password manager is trying to help, so let's turn that off. So tap in my password. This is the same password that you use on the downloads area to get the PP Vote software for ClickerPad. If you don't remember what your password is, you can reset it. It's not something we can do for you, so you just do forgot password and it will email you a reset link. So let's sign in. And we're going to get a slightly different screen when we're going in and as an administrator, because what we can see is any meetings that we've already set up, and we've got the opportunity to add new meetings here as well. I've got 3 examples set up here, and that's just so that I remember to tell you what the options are for people to join. So we just logged into this one. 123645 is an open meeting. Now what that means is there's no password. Providing people know the ID, they can get in. So you just send them the meeting code and they can get straight in. Now, there isn't much of a security worry with using this method because essentially you are not sending any information out via that. So you're not telling people what the questions are, what the wording is. All you're doing is giving them essentially quite a dumb device. So the information that's traveling over the internet is just the person that's using keypad at 11 pressed 3 at midday or whatever. So no real major problems there, and people can only cast votes if there's a vote running live on your computer. But if you want to be very slightly more secure, you might choose password protected. The password is something that you choose. So on this meeting, I've set it up with a password of hello. Um, you can obviously edit that. So if we click on edit, this is where I've set my password. So if we go in here and we change that to, let's say the password is now hi, save meeting, you could obviously come up with something far more secure. So obviously, if you're going to use that method, you need to think about how you're sharing that if you're worried about security. So when you send people out their meeting code, perhaps you won't tell them at that point what the password is. Perhaps you'll just announce that live during your meeting, for example. Another one that you can use is invitation only. Now, don't let this fool you that it's going to send out invitations. It's absolutely not going to do that. You need to send out your invitations. What it actually means is that the only people that will be able to join the session are the people that you have set up in your registration. So that will mean that they log in using their email address. So unless they have a valid email address for that meeting, they won't be able to get in. So let's start with the most simple session. I'm just going to go to the settings of one that I've already created to show you how simple that is. So meeting name, you can call this anything you want. I just called it open session so that I know what it is, but let's say we want to call that demo meeting August, for example. You just change that here, and I want 20 people to be able to join remotely, and I'm going to leave it as open. So let's hit save on that one. So that is now updated here so we can see the details of that meeting. If we wanted to add a brand new one, if we say add new, and we'll give it a meeting name. So I'm going to call this new meeting August, and I'm going to not limit how many people can join. Anybody can join. And my login mode, if I do the drop down here, we can have open, which means they just need the meeting code, as I mentioned before, password protected, or invite only. So let's go with a password protected meeting, and we will make the password August and hit create. So what we can see is we've got another meeting in here now. So very straightforward to set up. If we wanted to make that open, go back to here, and we choose open, and it removes the password field. So we come back to here, it says the login mode is open. So let's now go to the most complicated method, and even this one is not terribly challenging, but I'm going to show you anyway. So we're going to call this one invite only August, and let's say we're going to invite 10 people to our meeting and we want it to be invite only. If we say create, we've got another step. So currently we've got an invite only meeting, but we haven't set up our participants. So the buttons we've got here, edit, which we've already looked at together, delete meeting, self-explanatory, or we've got this one, view the registered voters. So let's go to that one. And we don't have any registered voters set up. So let's tell it to import the voters, and to make it nice and easy, there's a template file that we can download. So that will give you your example of how we need to set this up. So let's download that and open up the template. So give Excel a moment, it's just opening on my other screen. So once it's open, I'll drag it across so that it's visible. Okay, so this is the template. Very, very straightforward. The first thing that we need to do is enable editing. And then to add your voters, you literally just pop in here what their email address is, and what keypad number you want them to have. Now I'm going to have keypads 1 to 10 in the room, so I'm going to start from keypad 11, give the next person 12, next person 13. Let's add another one, and we're going to put this one in as sales@clickerpad.com, and I'm going to put that under my own name, which is Lynn. So let's hit save on that one, and then we'll just pop back over to here and we'll import it. So if I go to browse, and that would have just saved into my downloads. So upload, and we've now got some invited people on meeting 813211. So you would need to give people that meeting code, and then we'll just check that it's got them. So there we go. We've got the sales@clickerpad.com, which is the one that I just added into there, and these are just some made up addresses. So don't try and email any of them, they don't exist. Okay, so let's now log out, and we'll go back in as a remote photo. So I'm just going to hit back so I can check that everything looks all right. And we're going to join meeting 813211. So log out and 813211, sign in, and it's now asking for an email address. So let me put in my own email address, which wasn't registered. So you can see I'm locked out with that email address. The one that I set up was sales@clickerpad.com. So it's hey, sign in on that one. And it says that I'm keypad 14, which is what I set up when I was in the Excel. So if we just jump back to there, so that's the one I added, that's the name I gave, that's the keypad number. So when I'm logged in, it says, hello Lynn. So the name that you put in here is important. Make sure you've spelt people's names correctly. So it will give them that greeting and tell them what their keypad number is. And as normal, we just vote like so. So that's the first part of the puzzle. The second part is linking this up now to your actual meeting, because we want people to be able to vote when you're running your PowerPoint presentation. So the thing to note, of course, is the meeting code again, so we know which one that is. And those of you that are familiar with the software will be quite used to setting up their session by going to Add-ins, Clickerpad, Setup, Keypads. Okay, so when we come into here, I've actually got two rows in mind. So I was previously using the open meeting 1, 2, 3, 6, 4, 5. So I've got keypads 1 to 10 in the room, and then I was allowing 20 voters to join on that meeting, and the system knows that it must start those from keypad number 11. If we wanted to change to a different meeting, if we just click on remote setup, and it will go and look for the available meetings. So we'll just wait for that to load up on the screen. So what we're going to do is add in the meeting code that we want. So currently we've got that one selected. If I wanted the invite only one, if I pop down to invite only and say OK, and it's now linked to that meeting. So when we go to our test screen, we can vote on the keypads that are in the room, but we can also log in on one of our own devices, providing we've added ourselves to that invite list, and we can test both things at the same time. So what you'll notice is it's got 1 to 10 in black, those are our physical keypads, and then it's got 11 through to 30, which is our remote voters. So whenever I set one of these up, I always invite myself as a participant so that I can join on my phone and make sure that both sides are working correctly. And it's basically as simple as that. If I haven't explained that fully, there are some written notes on how to set up and run these. In terms of what happens during the session, whether people vote on a phone or a keypad, it is an identical process. It will treat those votes the same. But if there's anything that I've not fully explained, you can always email support@clickerpad.com. That's support@clickerpad.com, and we'll give you some more guidance.